Well, hello and welcome to Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. Great that you're with me again. Now, a few things you need to know. We are looking at creation at the moment. We're thinking about today different ways that people believe the world was created. And last time we looked at Genesis chapter 1. And 2 and 3. So we covered quite a lot. What you need to do today is you need to access the worksheet in the description below, and that will give you the information, the worksheet you need for today. While you're clicking on that, here's our cheesy intro music, and remember, grab a pen. Okay, so this is our title for today's lesson. Please make sure you've got that down. It's how was the world made? Yes, it's a very similar question to last time. How was the world made? And we're going to extract information from a range of sources and look at our different origins and beliefs about the universe and life. And it's going to be good if we can explain at least one account of creation. Great if you can talk about the pros and cons, the good and the bad parts of each creation theory, and even better if you can link that to Christian and secular views. So behind me then is a little overview of what we're going to look at. We're going to look at different approaches, remember this task, research, a little bit on evolution, and then an exam question as well. You're going to need this sheet in front of you for the next task. I'm going to put some slides up behind me, and you're going to look at those and then hopefully answer the questions as you go. So I'm going to start off with the Big Bang Theory. I'm going to move myself across to the edge of the screen because you don't want to see me for this. You don't need to. There you go. So here we go with these images. And then we get to Genesis 1. And then we've got evolution. Okay, so hopefully now you've completed a number of that. Now, what animals changed in this clip? Yeah, that's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to show you the full thing of that as well next time. But it's the idea of what do animals evolve into, and we'll show you that next time around. So if you leave that box blank, if you're not sure, then keep hold of it, and next lesson you'll be able to get that finished. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to have a understanding of some of these key words and their definitions. Now, these are in the incorrect order, so I would like you to write the key words out and then define them next to them. Pause me now while you do that. You know, it won't take you long to do, but write each of the key terms out and then write what their definitions are, and then come back to me. Okay, so those are the answers for you. So again, pause and check that you've got those correct, and if you're not, make any changes you need to. Okay, so what you're now going to do is you're going to do a research into the different theories of creation in a bit more depth. And what you need to do is you need to write a paragraph that explains each of the narratives. So having access to the description below, as I said at the start, you'll find marketplace information there as well. It goes into things in a little bit more depth. I'd like you to summarise each of those into 3 points, please. So summarise each of the things that you've got there into 3 points, and then come back to me. Okay, so another really key person now, George Latimer. George Latimer is, well, he's absolutely important in terms of this topic in Catholicism. So I'm going to show you a clip that talks about his life. And there's also an information sheet, which I'm sure you've already noticed in that description below. But while this clip's on, I'd like you to think about who was he, what did he do, and how does he fit into this argument with regards to science as well. And then there's a really big question for you to answer, which is, can you be a religious person and still believe in science as well? Okay, so this clip's from the Economic Times. I found it online. I thought it was really, really nice. So give this a watch and then answer those questions that are behind me. Okay, now you've seen that, give it a go at answering those questions that are behind me. Pause me now and then unpause me and I'll carry on. Okay, so I wonder then how a Catholic might respond to this. Well, Hawking, who was not a Catholic, said there's a fundamental difference between religion, which is based on authority, and science, which is based on observation and reason. Science will always win because it works. So Hawkins would suggest that there is a difference between science and religion, and you can't bridge the gap between the two easily. It's worth having a part of that quote written down for any evidence you might need. We're now going to look at the theory of evolution. Now there's another worksheet down there which I hope you've seen, which is about Charles Darwin and the theory of evolution. I'm going to play another clip to you and I'd like you to answer the questions on that sheet as we go. So have that sheet there and then just continue to play whenever you're ready.
Charles Darwin was a famous scientist in the 1800s. He was famous because he came up with an idea that changed the way we think about life on Earth forever: the theory of evolution. Darwin loved animals and studied them all of his life. In 1831, he went on an exciting voyage aboard the ship HMS Beagle. The Beagle visited the coast and islands of South America and Australia, where Darwin observed and collected a wide range of weird and wonderful plants and animals. When he got back to England, he analysed his collection closely. That was when his ideas about evolution started to form. Darwin had found around 15 different species of finch when he was on the Galapagos Islands. He noticed that the birds were similar to other finches in lots of ways, but their beaks were all different shapes. Darwin looked into it further. He realised that the different beaks matched the type of food available on each island. The finches who ate insects had skinny, pointed beaks, so they could pick them up better. And those that ate hard fruits had beaks that were sharp, so they could get through the skin. Darwin decided that there was only one way that this could have happened. The birds must have adapted to their environment over time. This led into another idea, which he called the survival of the fittest. In any environment, plants and animals from the same species show natural variation in their physical characteristics, such as neck length in giraffes. Darwin suggested that those plants and animals best suited to their environment are more likely to survive and pass on their characteristics to their offspring. Over a long period of time, the characteristics of the surviving members of the species will come to predominate. Confused? Take the peppered moth. In London in the early 1800s, 98% of peppered moths had light-coloured bodies. Only 2% were dark. The light moths were very happy because they were the same colour as the trees, which meant that they could easily hide from hungry birds. The dark peppered moths were easy to see and, well, eat. Then came the factories and the smoke of the Industrial Revolution. Many trees turned black with soot, and suddenly it was the dark moths who were able to survive better in their environments. By 1895, the dark peppered moths made up 95% of the population. That's quite a turnaround. The process of natural selection usually takes much longer, but this is a good example of how it works. What about us humans? Good question. Darwin went on to suggest that humans share a common ancestor with modern apes. This was controversial because it went against the religious beliefs of many people. Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection had a great impact on the world. Today, it is widely accepted as our best scientific explanation of how life on Earth works.
Okay, so this is our final thing then. It's our exam question. It's a C question. It's worth 8 marks, so it needs 2 paragraphs. I suggest that you use point, evidence, explanation and change. Point, evidence, explanation and change. However, it's entirely up to you how you want to do it, but you do need 2 quotes or 2 sources of authority in there as well. So it's explain how some Catholics believe the world was made. Explain how some Catholics believe the world was made. You're after 2 different theories of creation. So maybe Genesis 1 and the Big Bang potentially. Then you're going to be quoting people or saying things that happened within those events. This will take you about 8 minutes. You need sources of authority in both sections, and you need to be naming names and explaining things as well. Okay, so you're really after sort of 2 or 3 bits of information with an explanation and a quote within each paragraph. Okay, so pause me now, give that a go. 8 marks. Please send it through to your teacher at the end because we'd love to see it. Okay, so this is how it would be marked if it was in an actual exam in the summer. What you do is you start by looking for religious terms. If you use words like Bible, God, creation, maybe ex nihilo, and if you've not used any religious terms, you cannot score above 1 or 2. It's as simple as that. It's the bottom paragraph in each of those sections. If you've used quotes and things, you will be scoring 5 or above as long as they're explained. Please note you cannot get a 5, 6, 7 or 8 if you've not used any sources of authority. So if you've not mentioned Latimer, or you've not mentioned Hawkins, or you've not mentioned Genesis 1 or the Bible, you cannot score above 5. So what you're really then looking for is it limited, which is a 1 or 2? Is it good, which is a 3 or 4? Is it very good? Have you got some decent explanation in it? So those paragraphs are getting quite meaty and you've got quotes in, that's 5 or 6. Or is it exceptional? Is it like fully detailed in both paragraphs? And then you'd be getting your 7 or 8. Okay, so that's your task to work that through and to maybe give yourself a score, an even better if, see what you need to do to improve it in the future. Send it through to us, as I say, and we would love to give that a mark as well. So we said then we'd explain at least one account of creation. Well, we've hopefully looked at quite a few now. Great if you can examine the pros and cons of each of them. What's been good, what's been bad about evolution, Big Bang, Genesis 1, and have we thought about the relationship between Christian and secular views? Secular simply meaning non-religious. So that's our sort of classic Big Bang link there. So here's something that I found that amused me. I'd like you to write these 4 sentences out and finish them off, please. So write these 4 sentences out and finish them off. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for your time. Take care. Stay safe. Wash your hands. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.